What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys, back yet again. You know what we're doing. We're continuing our best leader testing series. Today, Anders. She is up. That is what we're doing. If you're new to the channel, first of all, thank you for stopping by. We really do appreciate it. Also, feel free to subscribe, comment, like, do all that great stuff down below. Our Twitter is in the description, so feel free to join us there. Also, the Average Gamer Guys Xbox Club, free to everybody. Feel free to join. Got a good little community. This is the Anders deck. This is what we're doing. We're playing some 1v1s, 2 games back to back. We'll take this deck into the first match. We'll take a quick pause break, take a look at the deck prior to going into match number 2, see if there's anything we need to change, and really still trying to answer that question: what's the best leader, and are all the leaders viable, at least in Blitz? We got this episode and one more. We got Consano to finish us off after this, so check out that tomorrow. If you are just joining the series, be sure to go check our Halo Wars 2 playlist. Got every other leader except for Anders and Consano at this point. So we're jumping into game number 1 here, using our deck, and we're facing Brought Relic at rank 50. So this was not how I was hoping to start this video, is with a rank 50 matchup, but we are into the Diamond 1 at this point. And like I've said in the past few videos, where as we kind of ranked up a little bit, I'm starting to see just a little bit higher percentage of rank 50s. I also think it might have some small part to when I play a lot of these games. I play them a little bit later at night. So I think we get some, just a different crowd on maybe, and people that are maybe playing the game a little bit more. Obviously this guy, rank 50, he's been playing a bit, and I'll tell you, after this, after playing this game, it was a pretty close game. It was a pretty good fight for the most part. I do have some play mistakes for sure, but his veteran level did help him out a little bit. But also, he is a good player, and I really do expect at this point, a lot of the rank 50s usually are, they have the veteran level capability that helps them, but they know strategies, they know leaders, and they know how to set their decks up as well, and probably have strategies that they've been using that really work for them quite a bit. So we're going to do our best here in this match. And we're going to really just see how the deck goes. Anders is one of those that, she's a cool leader. I do like her. I like the fact, I like her specialty units, focusing on the Sentinels. I think they're really cool. I absolutely love the Aggressor Sentinel. I'll tell you that right now. I think it's absolutely awesome. I think it for damage output, after we did the statistics, it's absolutely just brutal. It's great. Way better than the Protector Sentinel too, to be honest with you. But just a good overall around unit. I like the capability for her. She can really go a pretty heavy air focus, which is nice. And that's something that, there's hard counter units to that, obviously. But also, if you're not really well prepared for it, maybe you only have one counter unit and some infantry, you might have yourself a little bit of a tough time dealing with it. So that's kind of a strategy I like to go for. Obviously not a ton of air units here, but we do have the Aggressor Sentinel, we have the Hornet, and we got to have the Vulture being our top tier, probably the best overall unit that the UNSC has, to be honest. Partly because of the Phoenix Missile ability, partly because it's just a great troop, and a great card to call in. And 140 energy is actually pretty good, pretty comparable, and definitely don't mind paying that either. So at this point, we're playing a little bit of cat and mouse with each other. I'm moving some units over, he's moving some units back. He's got a couple points. He's got B and C set up right now. I feel pretty good about my setup over A. He's kind of abandoned A, which is kind of what I was hoping to do by making a push over there. He essentially just brought his units back to his base. And at this point, I'm just trying to get this fight established here and get some wins. So he's sitting at, a couple of units at 6 veteran level, a couple of units at 4. So not a super huge, crazy advantage. Obviously, I think his glassing beam was pretty well leveled up, because that was brutal, absolutely brutal. And the fact that he gets a lot of really good damage in on my Vulture too, which is really sad. So there's definitely some advantages that he has, but Overall, nothing too super crazy, but we get some good fights there. We're gonna go in. We're gonna be able to grab a little bit of energy. I don't think I'm super far behind on the energy war at this point, but I do know he's gotten he got at least the third core for sure. So that's a consideration I'm making as well. So I'm kind of making, as I always do, making a pretty valiant push. I get a little too focused, I think, on this fight right here. What I should have done was called my Jackrabbit in. I should have moved my Jackrabbit over a lot faster. I could have been at this energy core already, which I should have done, and I think he's going to end up beating me too. So that's a consideration as well. So I should have been doing that. So definitely some play mistakes for this first game on my side, but not too terrible. We're going to be able to get in and contest some of these points. I've got my Aggressor Sentinel just kind of hanging out over A, and with a little bit of Cyclops and Wolverine help, I'm able to get in and take it down. So we do take the Locust down. I've got this Kodiak, which was actually a decent setup for me as well. I go in. I don't think I got, I maybe have gotten just a little bit of that energy, but what I do end up being able to do is picking up C. So far, a decent fight, to be honest. I'm not getting blown away by any means, which sometimes happens when I play rank 50s. So it's nice to see that I'm at least staying competitive. He's got a great core group above B, doing a really good job of moving these guys in, and kind of staying on my case and keeping B pretty well locked down. The whole, it's not uncommon to see a ton of Locusts either, and with how high his veteran level units are, that doesn't really surprise me. So I'm going to try to get in. I'm going to try to use the Vultures to my advantage. They're obviously the best troops that I have to be able to fight this. Again, I'm going to make a concerted effort to push for these energy, and I'm also going to make a concerted effort being so close to the base. I don't want to needlessly lose a Vulture. 100% do not. That's the one thing that's going to absolutely keep me in this fight. I want to keep a small contingent of units over on A as well, at least a small little group to fight if he sends a single unit over. Obviously he's locking down B and C pretty good, but he doesn't have anything actually sitting on B or C, which means for me that I can get some troops in there, and I can try to steal some easy points and slow the bleeding down at least. I know that if I can get one good fight here, if I can make one good fight, if I can get some a decent win with some of these units that I have, take out some of these Locusts with some of these Phoenix missiles, and keep this core group alive at least for a little while, I do definitely stand a chance. He's calling in some good units. I mean, the fact that he's got some elites over there that are really tearing up my Nightingale, and then the one thing that happens that I hate to see happen is he gets another glassing beam, and that's why honestly Shipmaster is just brutal because of that direct damage leader power. There's not a whole ton that I'm able to do against it. My mistake here was not pulling my Vultures out fast enough. I could have easily gotten them out. I could have given up that fight. I had B, so I don't really know what I was pushing for there. I think I do end up keeping one alive, which is okay, but obviously not great, and it's just a little bit frustrating for me right there because I should not have made that move. I should have just pulled those guys back and got them healed up, and I honestly might have been okay. Now he makes some interesting moves there where he sent it at essentially called that unit in right on top of my units. What ends up happening is I think he did the teleportation there, which was really smart because that Vulture didn't get powered back up to full health, and I think he realizes too how critical my Vultures were for my survival, and that was the one unit that was going to keep me in the fight. Now obviously we're getting really close at this point. I've probably focused too much on gathering energy at this point, and you can see he's just calling in a ton of units essentially just to block B. I'm not going to move fast enough. The core group that I have isn't going to move fast enough, and we'll end up giving up the game. So a good hard fought game. Like I said, I had some mistakes, and that's the nice thing about doing the series and being able to record is I'm able to look back and see these mistakes, because in the game sometimes you don't really realize kind of some of the things that you're doing. We only lose 2 percentage points, so I'm not too frustrated there. I've never been a big fan of arc defense. I saw it there kind of failed me, to be really honest. So we're going to swap that out in the deck. What do we end up taking here? I don't even remember. It was a tough decision because I really didn't know what else to put in. That's the one thing for Anders that she doesn't have. She doesn't have a really good direct damage leader power, which, again, coming near the end of the series, the capability to have one of those is really critical. I toyed around with a lot of different options. I really did think maybe Extractor Marines, potentially a Warthog. I know the Protector Sentinel, it doesn't do the damage that it needs to at 70 energy. I was already pretty heavy in the air, so I decided I'm just going to go with pretty much the good faithful, which is the Scorpion. Great generally against everything, good damage output. So that's the deck we'll jump into. We get Drome 17 at rank 12 for our second match here, so we got a little bit of an advantage, but at rank 12, this guy probably knows what he's doing a little bit. Definitely been around the game at least a little bit, I'll assume, and probably has some veteran level on his cards as well. So we're probably not outmatching him too crazy. In some instances, maybe 2 levels, but generally maybe 1 across the board or so. So we'll see how this second game goes. And we're doing an Anders on Anders fight, so hopefully we'll see who ends up playing Anders better. I do like Anders. Like I said, I think the one thing holding her back, and as I kind of wrap this series up, we got one more episode for Consano coming up tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. It just seems like the leaders, some leaders have the capability to have some really good special units. I think Cutter's kind of the case with the Stealth Kodiak. That's probably one of the better specific units that he has. We see Johnson having some pretty good leader powers as well in the bunker, but I do really think the leaders that perform a little bit ahead of the rest just happen to be the ones that have good troops in conjunction with a good leader power. I think that is important, and I think that can be a big decider for especially 1v1s, because you do get a lot of small group spam, kind of like this guy is doing right here, where he's calling a lot of units in, trying to get some things going, and if you have a good damage dealing leader power, the best being, in my opinion, the glassing beam from Shipmaster. If I would have had a glassing beam right there, I'd probably wipe that whole army out. I take all 3 points, and I'm sitting real pretty for the rest of the game. Anders doesn't have that, so I lose the capability to do that, essentially. So that's just kind of, again, my general thoughts. We will have a wrap-up video at the end of the series, so in 2 days from when you guys are seeing this, and we'll kind of rank order them. But at this point, that's a great Phoenix missile. I think I still hold true also to the idea of you do need to try to win the initial fight. I definitely lost the initial fight. He did a great job of calling units in. While he was doing that, though, I'm going to play kind of the devil's advocate and say, there are definitely multiple ways and multiple strategies to take this. And I happen to just go for the route of he's going to focus on a single point. I'm going to go to the opposite 2 points. I'm going to focus on energy collection as well. I was able to get the second energy drop, put me ahead by 0.3. Which in the long run of the game is going to be pretty good, and definitely gives me an advantage. And then the fact that I do like the first person a lot of times for me, at least in my games, that can call in a major troop, 100 and plus energy costing troop, whether it be a Scorpion. A lot of times for me it's a Vulture. Can call that in, make good use of that troop, be able to make a good fight essentially and take out some units, and then keep their troop alive. Usually gives themselves a pretty good advantage, and we did that right there. We essentially, he did again a great initial push to be able to take that energy, or to be able to take B and destroy my initial army. But I essentially had the perfect counter punch, creating that Vulture, flying it in, getting a good Phoenix missile, and not getting out. And at this point, I'm really not too sure what he's doing. I don't think he thinks he's either given up or I don't think he thinks his army is going to have the capability to at least get in and take down B. And then probably subsequently to that also take down C, because I can take the route to kind of cut over in between the ridge, maybe if he makes a direct push for that. And at this point, he's just now given me too much time to get set up, and we're going to kind of walk away with the rest of this. So we go 1-1 with Anders. Honestly, a pretty good fight in the first one, minus a few play mistakes. I think it could have been a little bit closer, and potentially maybe we win that game, maybe not. We will never know, but I do think Anders definitely has some capability. We'll take another quick look at her deck here real shortly. And again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, all that good stuff. Twitter, Average Gamer Guys Club, feel free to join, and we will be finishing up the series in the next 2 days. So guys, thank you so very much. I've had a great time making this series, testing out these different leaders, and it's honestly really helped my game. I will definitely say that. I really do think if you're looking to kind of improve your game, this is a great way to go about it. Take a look, sit down, make what you think can be a very competitive deck. If you want to, you can copy these decks that you're seeing at the end of each of these videos, try them out, run through them in some 1v1s, and just work on your game. What it's going to allow you to do is really kind of start to memorize some of the starting armies, so you know what good counter units to play right up front. Know if you can win head-on-head fights with the armies that you're calling in. Like I know with Anders, she has a particularly good setup to be able to fight Shipmaster's starting army. So I would feel very comfortable trying to go and engage in that initial fight against a Shipmaster, at least the Assassin army. So that's the kind of little stuff that I think can really start to propel your game, and honestly I think has helped me jump into the diamonds, because just the little things, just refining the game and getting proficient with different leaders, and then also knowing what each of the leaders, what their special units are, and what to kind of look out for. So again, Doc from Average Gamer Guys, really enjoyed making this series. Stay tuned next couple days as we finish it up. Thank you so very much for watching and spending a few minutes of your day with me. And again, thanks for all the support for the channel. We'll catch you soon. Thanks for watching.